Hello and happy Tuesday. This is Barb Reed, the Wexford Stamper. And I've got a whole bunch of stamping ladies here with me already. Wonderful. Hello. Ann and Deb and Jean and Cheryl and Joanne. All right. My peeps are in the house. All right. Wonderful seeing everybody. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started. I don't like to penalize those ladies that are prompt. Hello, Rise. Nice seeing you. Today I'm sharing a very simple but fun project. This is and you can see I've made just a few of them. This is a little St. Patrick's Day treat box. You can see it is a pentagon on the bottom, and then we just pull it up and tie it together at the top, and it's got the little pleats all around. It's super cute. And I know what you're saying to yourself, I don't have any St. Patrick's Day stamps. You don't have to worry, neither did I. And I was still able to pull this one off. So let me give you some tips and tricks, and you can pull it off too. First thing you're going to need to do is go through your stash and find some green Designer Series paper. Okay, not too hard to find. I went through and I found a few different ones. This is a Just Jade pattern paper, so I paired that with some Just Jade ribbon. Okay, and this one was a little bit of a green stripe. I thought that was cute. This one has the Evening Evergreen ribbon. And then this one does as well, and this is the paper that we're going to use this evening. It's this dark evergreen, the Evening Evergreen. And this is all current paper. I just kind of went through all my stash and found as many of the greens that I could. And I thought, yeah, this is what I'm going to work with. So if you don't have that, you can probably use some green cardstock as well. And I did not have any of the current St. Patrick's Day stamps. I don't even know if there are any. There may be some that you can find the little St. Patrick's Day written as one of the smaller stamps, but I don't have any. So what I kind of did is I looked through my stamps and I found this Oval Occasions. I've had this one for a while, still current. And I'm going to use this one here, this So Lucky to Know You. That's kind of St. Patrick's Day. So I'm going to go ahead and use that one, and I'll show you as we get to that portion of the tutorial how I use that. All right, and then finally, I went back to a Valentine's Day set of dies that I had, and I used the tag from that, but I also used one of the heart. I cut out this, and I then used the little hearts that came out of the middle to form my little shamrock. Okay, so it's not hard. You just have to use some creativity and what you have around, and you can make a wonderful little St. Patrick's Day treat box. All right, let's start with our paper first. This is really quick, not a lot of scoring or cutting to do with this one. All right, I'm going to bring in my scoring board here. And let me check this is cut at 4.5 by 8. All right. And I'm going to grab my scoring tool here. And on the long side, I'm going to score at 1.5, 3, 4.5, 6, 7.5. So we're scoring every 1.5 inches. Okay. Now all this will be on my blog, and there will be a PDF by the end of the week. I'm running a little behind, but I will definitely get it to you. So we have 1.5, 3, 4.5, 6, 7.5. Okay, so you're going every 1.5 inches. Then we're going to turn it to the short side, and we're going to score at 1.5 again. That's it. So if you remember that it's always a multiple of 1.5, you will have it down in your head. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to grab my bone folder here, and let's fold over on all these score lines. Hope everyone is having a good week. This crazy weather looks like we're going to have a little snow and ice in the next couple of days. I am over it. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and score and crease all those score lines. Let's see if I can hold it up so you can see it there. See all the score lines. So we've got 2, 3, 4, 5 vertical, and then just 1 horizontal score line. That's going to be there. That forms the bottom of our box. Okay, I'm now going to grab my scissors here, and I have the thin little rectangular panel there on the right hand side. I'm going to cut up on the first vertical just to that first horizontal, and then cut that little piece off. This is going to be the portion that we put our glue on, and that puts our box together. I'm not sure. That's a good question, Jean. I don't have that one. I'll have to check that out. Okay, now I'm going to cut up all the other score lines, the vertical ones, just right up to the horizontal score line. So what I really did was just create all these little tabs here on the bottom. There's 5 tabs. Okay, and those are going to all fold together on the bottom to make the bottom of the box. Okay, now let's go ahead and glue it together. Now we can't glue this one together like I usually do. I usually fold it over and then fold it over again. We can't do that because there's an odd number of sides on this box. Got something on there. Let me get that off. There we go. So what you have to do is, I'm going to take a little bit of glue, and I'm going to put it down that panel right there. And I'm going to kind of hold it up, fold it over, then bring the other end up and put together the folded end to the other end of our panel. So the fold goes along and lines up with the other side of the panel. And you just want to hold that a little bit. I wasn't able to use my trick because you can see already, you can see the 5 sides kind of coming together. Hey, Mary, happy St. Patrick's Day. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and put the bottom of the box together. Okay, so I'm going to turn them upside down. I'm going to flatten out all our tabs that we've made. Okay, now one is going to go in. Okay, then I'm going to put a little bit of glue at the top edge of all 4 of the others. Okay, and now we're going to fold them in. Now you need to be a little careful because they're not going to totally cover each other. Okay, so when you put the last one down, you want it to be in a place, and you can't really see it very well here, but if you go across the top of the last flap, it goes from each of these corners. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, there. No, hold on. Let me get it in the right spot. There. Okay, you want it to be pointing toward the corners. And if you're doing that, then your little pentagon is going to have the same size sides for all 5 of them. Okay, so that's how we do that. And then we're going to go ahead and let that dry a little bit. And I kind of finish it off with a 2-inch circle cut out of the evening evergreen just to make it a little more finished on the bottom so we're not seeing all those flaps. So I'm just going to take this here and I'm just going to put that on the bottom, and that kind of covers up all the flaps. So if you'd happen to get a little bit of glue on the outside of the flaps, no worries. You can cover it up. So then I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to take my Tombow and just kind of push it down in there. And so everything is glued. So that is the bottom of our box. That's how quick and easy that is. Now, let's work on the top. All right, we're going to have to create our pleats now that we're going to need to form the top of our box. So what you're going to do is you're going to go on each side of your box here and you're going to push in at the middle and fold after you get the 2 points together. So you're just finding the middle between each of the points. So here's our next 2 points on our pentagon. And I'm just going to push those together so they match right up. Squeeze it a little bit, and then you have your center point. Okay, same thing again. Match it up. Squeeze to get that center point. 2 more like that. You want to try and get outside corners to touch. And then last one, just like that. Okay, and now you're going to notice it forms a little bit like a star. Okay, that's what you want. You want it to look like a star. If you have a star, then you're going in the right direction. Now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to punch some holes in our box. You'll notice that my ribbon goes around between each of the pleats. So you're going to need a hole punched on each set of pleats. So you're going to go back. You're going to squeeze that side together like that. And you're going to go in. And you want to punch fairly close to the center of the box. So I'm going to come in and punch right there. Okay? Then I'm going to go to the next pleat. Do the same thing again. And if they don't line up just perfectly, don't worry about it. This is a very forgiving project. Same thing. So you're going to have to do this 5 times because you've got those 5 points on your star. And last one, right there. Okay. See how I made my little holes around there? Very easy. You just squeeze the point of the star together and then put your punch hole through there. Okay, and that's going to pull together our box so it'll be closed. All right, next thing we need to do is put the contents of our box in. And as I did last year, I always love to do this. I got some of these cute little gold coins. Chocolate coins, love them. Okay, I can put a link in the description and let you know where I got them, but you know where I got them. I got them on Amazon. So if you just search for the Madeleine chocolate coins, you'll be able to find those. They've got some really, really cute chocolate candies. All right, so I have 5 candies in there. Easily fitting in there. So you can kind of see them down in there. They fit pretty easily. All right, now we're going to go ahead and let's make our tag now. Okay, so as I said before, I took the tag from the latest Valentine die set, using that, and then I ran this through this little heart, 3 hearts like that. I ran that through in the evening evergreen color. And let me show you what I got with that. Okay. I'm going to pull out 3 of the hearts that were inside. Okay. And then I'm going to pull out this as well because I'm going to use a little piece of that to make the stem on the shamrock. Okay. So let's go ahead and make our shamrock first. Okay, if you look here at this, what I did is I just took a tiny bit of glue and glued the points of the heart together. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna grab my glue, and I lost one of, oh, here he is. Those guys are running away. All right, so let's start with this one here. I'm just gonna put a tiniest bit of glue on the end of that. Okay, and I'm gonna pick up another heart with my, let's turn it this way since I'm right-handed. I'm gonna turn it this way. This will be the left side of the shamrock, and here I'm just gonna push that right down so that the points are touching. Okay, and now there's even enough glue there that I can probably glue on this last one without putting more glue on there, which would be an excellent thing. Okay, and you can always take your pick tool, move things around a little bit. I'm going to move this up a little bit and push it back down. Okay, so there we have the leaf portion of our shamrock. Then I'm going to go ahead and grab this little piece that was the outside of, thanks Jean, and it's super easy. You can impress your friends for sure. I'm just going to cut off a little portion of the side, and this is going to be the little stem on the shamrock. Again, I'm just going to put a tiny little a tiny little dot of glue. It's already sticking to my finger. There we go. And what I'm going to do next, I'm going to grab my pick tool. I got two pick tools going here at once. I'm going to pick up my shamrock, and I'm just going to lay them right on top of my stem. And there you have it. There is the cute little shamrock. Very, very easy to make. Okay, I'm going to let him dry a little bit. I'm going to put him over here. We're going to pick him up with the there we go. We're going to let him over there to dry, and we're going to work on our little tag. All right. Remember I told you that I'm working with the So Lucky to Know You. This is from, let me grab it again. I've already forgotten the name. The Oval Occasions. Okay. So now I don't want the little flowers on the top and the bottom. So let me show you how what I do so they don't get stamped. I'm going to take this fabulous product called Post-it tape. I didn't know this existed till a little over a year ago, and I was very excited about it. All it is Post-it notes in a tape dispenser. So they're all sticky. There's no portions that are not sticky. And what I did is I just pulled off a piece from the tape, and then I tore a piece, and I'm going to cover the sections of the stamp that I don't want ink on. Okay, so sometimes you got to be a little tricky and try to tear the paper a little bit, just so you're not covering up your words, but you're covering up those portions of the flower that you don't want. You can see what I did there. Oops, up farther, up. There we go. Okay, so I just basically took the paper and covered the portions of the stamp that I don't want. Then I took my Memento black ink, and I opened it up, and I just carefully pushed it down on the stamp. Okay, so I got ink on all the words, but not on those flowers. And it's very important to remember to take off the Post-it notes before you stamp. Okay, don't know why I know that, but you know, I just do. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take those off. Now I'm going to bring in my tag, and you want to concentrate on where the words are, not just kind of not looking at the flowers and worrying about if they're on. And then you're just going to stamp down. And there you have it. That's how easy that is to do. You can do that with any stamp that you have. It's a great way to just quickly eliminate the portions that you don't want. You could also use a black marker. The water-based markers would work as well. So either way, but that's a trick that I really like to use. All right, now we're going to go ahead and use a dimensional, and we're going to add our shamrock to our tag. Now, this is a tiny shamrock, so I'm just going to cut a tiny portion of the dimensional here off the side. Okay, I'm going to now turn over my shamrock, put my dimensional on the back, and then put the shamrock right on the tag like that. So cute. And then I fished out some rhinestones, and I found some gold rhinestones in my stash. So I'm going to go ahead and use those, but you can use regular rhinestones, you can use green ones, you can use regular ones and color them with your blends to make them gold, whatever works. And I'm going to put 2 of these on my tag right there. And there is my tag. Pretty simple, so cute. I know. I still do it sometimes, Gina. If I'm in a rush, I'll do something dumb like that. But yes, that's okay. If we can admit it to each other, we will be okay. All right, so there we have it. Isn't that so cute? So for not having an official St. Patrick's Day stamp, I think that turned out pretty well. Okay, so let's go ahead. It's time to put our ribbon on our box. Now remember, we had it punched and we still have our star shape there. Now I'm going to be using, with the boxes that I made using the Just Jade, and if you notice here, I made a Just Jade little shamrock as well. I also used this let's see, what is this guy called? This is Just Jade and Gold braided ribbon. That's really pretty with the extra gold there. But now for this one, I'm using, since it is the Evening Evergreen, I'm using the chevron weaved ribbon in the Evening Evergreen. They just have gorgeous ribbon. Love this. Okay, what I did notice about this ribbon is it frays pretty quickly if you're moving it around a lot. So what I found out I had to do was take a piece of tape and tape the end of the ribbon, because you have to go in and out of 10 different little holes. So if you don't have something there, it starts to fray, and by the end it's just a mess. So I just found that to put the little Scotch tape on the end, you can avoid all that fraying. All right, so let's go ahead and start going through and lacing our box up. Now what you're going to do is you're going to again pinch those sides together and go through both holes at one time. Then we don't have quite as many to do. So there's our first one. Whoops, let's try that again. Makes it easier, all things here, if you just pinch the points together, just like you did when you were punching. All right, so there I went through that one. So you're really going to stay on the outside of the box. I'm going to go through this second one here. We're just pinching the side together or the point together and going straight through 2 of the holes. Making our way around. Okay. There we go. One more set here. Okay, now we're all the way around to the front. So you just want to make sure that you have the same amount coming out of both sides here. I can tell my one side's a little longer. So I'm going to just move it around a little bit so we have a little more on the left-hand side before we go ahead and thread our tag on. Okay, that's much better. And just as you pull them together, your box is going to come together. You don't have to pull real hard, just through the lacing process. And then you're just going to do an over-under and pull. And then you pretty much have it together. Okay, it's together and ready to go. All right, now we've got our last two little tags here, ends here. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to add my tag. Okay, and that's going to go all the way down to the bottom against the box. And then we're going to tie our ribbon around. Come on, you. There we go. Got it. All right. You know you're going to want to zhuzh it a little bit and get the beautiful bow the way you want it. And then I always, whoops, I don't always do that, but sometimes I do. I want to cut it off so it has a nice clean end. And then of course I need to cut off, oops, I need to cut off the end that had the Scotch tape on it. So there you go. Isn't that cute? And then you can just kind of push in all the sides of the box. You have plenty of space for it to get pushed in on the sides. It pretty much goes in on its own. Plenty of room to do that with your coins in there. I got the coins on Amazon, Mary. I think they usually have them like at Hobby Lobby and maybe some other places, but I just got a whole bag of them on Amazon. It looks like this. Madeleine Premium Chocolates. They're right on. Oh, did you see them at the Dollar Tree on Haynes Road? Look there. Thank you, Cheryl. So it sounds like they're at the Dollar Tree as well. Sound good? All right, so that is my project for this evening. I hope you guys have a great St. Patrick's Day and a great week, and hang in there. It seems like we're going to have one more little bit of cold. Starting next time, we're going to be starting to work on Easter gifts. Yes, they are. And here is my first project. I'm so excited. Can't wait till I get to share this with you. But here is my first candy project for Easter. I made these 3 little candy holders, and I'm not going to show you what's inside. We'll wait till next time. But these are super easy to make, and I can't wait to tell you what punch I used to make these. You're going to love it. Okay, so have a great evening. Please post on my VIP page if you make some of these great St. Patrick's Day gift boxes. I'd love to see them. All right, so take care and happy stamping. Bye now.